to 8, the government has opened consultation on changing classic vehicle and motorhome fitness certifications from 6 months to 12 months. Transport Minister Chris Bishop says it strikes the right balance between safety and over-compliance. Well, for more, we're joined by a man who owns classic vehicles and a motorhome, David Lane. Good morning, David. Thank you so much for joining us. Would you mind just giving us a little bit of a look, a little bit of a tour, if you like, about what you've got there?
Yes, good morning, Chris. I'm very pleased to be able to show you my 1930 Studebaker. I've owned this car for 63 years, and for the technically minded, 8 cylinders in a line. It's a 2-seater roadster, but has the advantage of having a dicky seat in the back. This car, I learned to drive in it, and has done a huge mileage. The other car here is a Model T Ford. This is a speedster, and this is a car that's had only one family owner prior to me being lucky enough to purchase it. It's a car that gives us a lot of pleasure, a lot of fun. You'll see that only has one windscreen. And my wife tends to grizzle a little bit. I just tell her to keep her mouth shut and the bugs won't go there. But 1912, and over here, lucky enough that my wife and I have had the pleasure of seeing New Zealand in a motorhome, and we've done up and down the country. And as far as the motorhomes, I'm part of a community now totaling over 100,000 financial members in the MZNCA. All 3 vehicles we have a problem with, a combined problem. That's the dreaded 6-monthly warrant of fitness.
Yes, exactly.
I relate to this particular car.
Yeah, because you're obviously keeping them so well, and the argument, I suppose, is that the people that have these sorts of cars, they're actually looking after them much better and doing much less mileage than your regular car. So
absolutely,
it's the sort of thing with the law as an ass, right? In the case of the Studebaker.
Correct. And in the case of the Studebaker, in my 63 years, never missed a warrant of fitness. In the case of the Model T, the same applies, but we have a problem with the Model T that because the current legislation is simply not fit for purpose. I have to search the city to find someone who can do the warrant of fitness on this vehicle, because nobody can drive it. For starters, no one will let me drive it in their buildings. The Motorhome Association, of course, we are onto the same problem with the COFs, and that's for this legislation change of going to the 12 monthly for heavy motorhomes, private motorhomes, is going to be something that we look very much forward to, because here we have a problem of cost. And it may come as a surprise, but I've heard COFs up around in excess of $300 for every 6 months. So it's a bit of a nightmare for the motorhomes like myself of getting this done. And we have the problem, of course, of not being getting the correct checks done on these vehicles.
Yeah. So do you think you'd support the idea that they had of basing it on mileage rather than time? Would you support that?
I could understand in the case of our motorhomes that there could be a mileage stipulation put on it, but again, the majority do very little miles, and with related to the owners of all these sort of vehicles, the accident rate is virtually zero. The failures in warrants and COFs is very low because they are valuable, and we look after them. So we are looking forward, and we've been wanting this legislation to change for probably 20 years now, and so this is the nearest we've got, and we're kind of hoping here that the owners of these types of vehicles will look towards the submissions that are now the LTSA is now open to, and that you get your pen and your paper and you write down it, and just to say it honestly as it is and what bugs you. Take, for instance, quickly the person that lives in the rural community. They often have to do a turnaround, some of them up over 100 kilometres just to do a certificate of fitness or a warrant of fitness.
Yeah.
So this is time consuming, and so it's we look forward to the change, and to this ends, I'm pleading with everybody to send your submissions into LTSA, tell it as it is, and that way we hopefully will bring about a long-awaited change that's very overdue.
Thank you, David. Thank you so much. And it was so good to see your beautiful cars. I would have loved to see the faces of people when you turn up to get the WoF and
totally.
they try to figure out how to get in there and drive it. Thank you so much, David, for coming out. David Lane, classic car enthusiast.